because he doesn't realize he's.
I hear that.
Just give me a second.
So this is, he's at.
We're gonna do it on Zoom.
Come say hi to the Hershey's.
Hershey's?
The Hershey plant.
Oh, is that Mark?
No, Mark's right here.
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't have recognized him.
Are you getting Terry on there? Terry's right there.
Oh yeah.
Come on, okay, I'm gonna make sure anybody who wants to talk to Terry, this is Ron. I just can't believe they'd ever grow gray hair.
Who are we
Wow.
We're just looking at you. We can't hear you, but we're just looking at you.
Who are we talking about
Yeah,
here? Who
I
is
don't know if
this?
that's. I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to hear him without the buds, and that's the problem.
This is so, I've heard Dan has been all over the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably that Russian thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys look at each other.
Look at each other.
The Hershey plant.
Oh my gosh.
So this is Mark and Terry.
Oh my gosh.
Not Terry, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jelly.
Yeah.
It's good to see you guys.
Is that Lynette?
Yep, that's
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
that.
that's me.
Yeah.
You guys are looking good.
See if I have this. I might have to just turn the sound.
It could be awesome.
Oh man. Yeah. So almost
It's not
all
as nice. So what I might have to do is turn it on.
Hey,
She's not in there right now. I'll have her turn it off.
it's good seeing you guys.
Yeah, you
Wish you
too.
were here.
Yeah.
Once everybody gets it back.
We got Bill Bellamy here, but he's afraid to step up.
Hello
Hey,
there.
Mr. Bellamy.
First ones. Let's just say,
He didn't graduate from college.
Yeah, that's interesting because we can't hear the background noise at all.
No, the setting is, it's set to try to block out background noise, which it does. Can you hear me, Chuck?
Yeah, I can hear you just a little bit now. Yeah. Well, that's what I think we'll do. We'll just kind of go around and see, because it's just the Hershey clan, right? Does anybody else log on?
No, we got Terry,
Nominate.
Terry Nominick, and I keep forgetting your name there, guy.
Sean McKnight.
Sean McKnight there. So we got a couple others.
And I'll be out there in RBI
How
in
did
just
you
a little
get
while.
How'd you get the people's name? Is that Sean McKnight?
Yeah. Otherwise known as Jim McKnight.
Holy smokes, that's Jim. I didn't know it was you until I saw the subwriter. I went, oh,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
One of my favorite people on the planet right there, my friend.
Oh, well, very kind, sir.
Great to see you. Great to see you.
Well, if it
So,
wasn't for you and Mr. Thompson, I might not have made it through high school.
well, I don't know. I know, I think I got more out of that relationship than you did. That was pretty fun. We had a good time,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Let me.
Lynette and Ron, you guys are both muted.
I didn't have
Yeah.
anything important to say at the moment.
Oh, you didn't. Okay. Well,
I always worry what I say when I'm not muted.
Yeah, I was.
well, the plan was to record this, and Chuck was gonna I think they're gonna have some people say different things and so on. That way it could be shared with others, and especially with the family. But I don't know if it's gonna amount to much anybody's gonna want to listen to besides us talking to each other.
Yeah, if he does that and doesn't worry about us and just has them talk, that'd be fun to listen to.
Yeah.
Terry, who was that first couple that said hi? I saw Rebecca, but then who was that?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you.
Who was that? Lynette, Rebecca Mertz?
Yeah, she kind of popped in right at the back. You couldn't see her.
That
Yeah.
man.
Shelley
Okay,
Brown.
yeah.
Shelley Brown was in there. She was talking to you guys.
Oh,
Oh,
hi.
okay, yeah, I thought that might
So
have been
all you gotta do
Shelley.
is just talk to, you guys can all hear us, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Cheryl's gonna say hi to everybody. I'm gonna go get a couple more people. We're actually gonna get started with the program here in about 5 minutes, so. I'll
Okay.
get a few people to say hi though.
So Terry, I'm Cheryl was Clark. I haven't
Oh,
seen
yeah.
you for a long time. And Mark, I wouldn't have recognized you. And
Yeah.
Lynette
Hi.
and I don't remember the youngest one.
well,
But-
that's not a Hershey.
And I can't hear. I'm deaf, totally deaf in my right ear. And so I can't hear, especially with all the background noise.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was sure good to, it's good to see you guys.
One more time.
Yeah, you too. If you want to take the laptop out to where Pat's talking, then we can record it. We'll record
Okay,
it
I'll
for
take
you.
it out. I'll take it out there.
Said, so make sure this is a good start, okay? And so far, so good, okay? And how's your hair?
Excuse me.
Well, so the other thing is that the family wanted us to recognize a couple other people also.
Okay.
And the other people that they wanted us to recognize tonight were our school teachers, okay? I'm not gonna, we had some things that we were gonna do on an individual basis tonight, but I think that we don't need to do that. I think we're just gonna go ahead and go through this, and we're just gonna say thank you to all the educators, as Fred Blackman would say. Fred wrote a thing. We do want to read what Fred wrote tonight, because he wanted it read here, Fred Blackman. And which was a little bit beforehand, but he worked with Nels and was good friends with Nels. And so anyways, we're gonna read that. And but Mike Gardner, thank you so much for being who you were, who you are now, and helping make us who we are. This is Nels Thompson's legacy right here, and all of your guys right here, and many, many other people who couldn't be here tonight. Jack Redding, I don't know how to thank you, my friend. I know you and I have kept in touch over the years, and I love you, man. I love all you guys. Mike Town, thank you so much for coming. You know, you were a breath of fresh air when you came in. I never seen so many guys, so many baskets made at one time in my life. Like I said, Mike used to tell me I could be a good basketball player if I just do what he said. And I said, well, what's that, coach? Don't miss. Okay. Bill Bellamy, where's Bill? Bill, thanks for being who you were and what you were, and taking the time out of your life to take a teaching job that didn't pay with shit. Okay. Like none of them do. Like none of them do, yeah. And one person that I wanted to talk about tonight too a little bit was Maddie Wells. Maddie Wells was somebody who was here before I was here. She had an incredible personality, an incredible sense of humor, and also a hard ass.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody had us do more push-ups than Maddie did, even you, Mike. So anyways, Maddie Wells was great. All of our teachers, us kids, from the people that I've been talking to over the last couple of weeks since we decided to try to do something like this, we're putting together things, and we're talking about how when you got in trouble at school, going home was not a very pleasant thing. Doesn't happen so much anymore, it doesn't seem. But that was a relationship between the parents and the teachers. And that was another thing that the family wanted me to discuss a little bit tonight, was about how the parents that we had here, you know, I know that our parents, and most of the other parents around here were very much vested in their kids, and the way that the teachers and the community work together as one, I believe, was incredibly special. I mean, incredibly special here. And it developed us as good people. And I know one thing, because when I've led really good laugh. And I am so appreciative of all of you. So here's to the parents and the teachers of all of us when we were kids. So cheers. So that came to me about 5 minutes ago and said, we're not going to tell the teacher story. And I said, oh shit, don't tell us the teacher stories. So I have one teacher story that has to do with Nels in particular, and Brett actually asked me to tell this story because he thinks it's a lot funnier than I do. We were in junior high, and Nels was our junior high track coach, and we went to Sherman County, and Sherman County had a cinder track, which we thought was pretty cool. We had a cinder track at one time. They had like an 8-lane cinder track, which was big time. And I watched on the TV, I watched the Olympics, and I watched the sprinters in the Olympics, and at the end they would lean forward and try to take a quarter of a second or a tenth of a second out their time. And I thought, I'm doing that. That's not, I'll be doing that. So we go to the race at track meet at Sherman County, and I'm running in the 100-meter dash, and I'm running down there, and I'm doing pretty darn well. And I get to the end, and I lean forward, and I just take a header. And I didn't know what I was doing, and I slid off my belly and slid on my thigh. I got a big bunch of scrapes on this thigh right here. I still have a scar. And Nels said, "Oh, geez, that's terrible. That's terrible. Let's get you back in the car, or get back in the bus." And they put me back in the bus. And then on the way home, Nels said, "I'm afraid this is going to get infected." So he took rubbing alcohol and he just rubbed it all over him. And then he patted it off with a towel, and then he did it again. And the worst part was he was cackling the whole time. He was crying the whole time, but that was the funny, all that pent up frustration got to deal with me. I think was coming out with that cackling. So that was and then Brett was dying. He thought that was the funniest thing ever. I do want to say maybe a quick thing about everybody who is a teacher. Mike Gardner, fantastic guy, loved him. We being I think the seniors that year, my senior year in 1977, at Halloween, we knew that Mr. Gardner was going to have the first child. And we knew it was due on Halloween night, I think, or day. And so when Halloween night came along, he was with his wife in the hospital and his firstborn son. And for a long time, since we knew his wife had become pregnant, we would ask him, "What are you going to call it? What are you going to call it? What are you going to call your baby?" And Mike would say, Mr. Gardner would say, "What were you going to call him? Biff." Biff was going to be his name. And we go, "Well, Biff, that's not what that's what we're going to call him. We're going to call Biff." So that was the running joke: is that when's Biff due? When's Biff coming? What are you going to get for Biff for his first Christmas? That kind of. So that was the running joke, right? So it turns out, just by chance, the baby comes on Halloween night. So we get the Gardners are in the hospital, and we're terrorizing the town like we have been for the last 15 years. And but now we're in high school and we can do some real damage. So we went around the town with a couple of pickup trucks, and we gathered up all the pumpkins from everybody's yard that we could find. We went over to Mike's yard, and we spelled out Biff in the pumpkins. And was there toilet paper? Yeah. I think that was somebody else. That sounds like somebody else. We probably wouldn't have done the toilet. We would have probably felt bad about that. But I don't remember that part, but you probably do for sure. But anyway, so that's the kind of what we really, that was in total adoration of that family. So that's great. Mike Gardner, I got to work with Mike Gardner as a teacher. Mike Town as a teacher and as a colleague. And I got to tell you, that's a unique experience. I got to do that with Matty Wells as well. I don't know, Mike, you and I don't think we teach at the same time. I don't think so. But anyway, I came back, and some of you know I came back and taught Culver for a little while. And so that was just really a special time for me to be able to do that and to relate with Mike on both a professional and rugrat level was pretty good. Mike is the only teacher that ever gave me an F and ever kicked me out of class. What was he thinking? I'm sure I did nothing to deserve that. That's for sure. Mr. Bellamy, right over here. Notorious. I have to tell you two things.
never a cool guy in the world, and we tortured him to death. The poor guy, I don't know how he made it out alive. I don't know how he is able to stand to this day. I think it has to do with having a drink in his hand. That's probably it. But I'll just tell you one real quick one is one day we had Mr. Bellamy for 2 periods in a row, and then the last period we had a study hall. So we really had 3 periods in a row. And we locked him in the upstairs storage area for all 3 periods. And it would have been bad if he would have gone up there and we would have closed the door behind him, locked him, but we carried him up there too. And so that was the first and only time that we kidnapped somebody. And so, Mr. Bellamy, for all of the class of 1977, I'm sorry. I do also want to, I don't know if you're going to say anything. Well,
I gotta tell Jack.
I wanted to say about Jack is that Jack gave me my first job. My first day of work as an assistant football coach at Culver High School. I was late for work because apparently I forgot I had a job. And Jack was very nice about that. He's nice about everything. My best Jack rating story is we went before the season started. We went to a clinic to try to learn how to be better coaches. And we went to the University of Oregon. There's about 300 coaches there. The speaker was a line coach from the Rams, the Los Angeles Rams at the time. And Jack and I walked in there, and there's, like I said, 300 people, and the chairs are in rows of about 50 chairs. And there's only a little bit of room towards the center, and all the side chairs are taken up. So Jack and I have to go, excuse me, all the way to the middle of this line. And we sit down, and the Los Angeles line coach goes, okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you the most important thing that you can be, that you can do as the most important way to be a successful line coach. Have big, talented people. And Jack said, we don't have any of those, let's go. So, yeah. And we went to the bar, and 2 days later, I woke up. And then I was introduced to coaching that way. So that's one little tiny tale in the tale of working for Jack Redding, which was an absolute pleasure and joy in my life. You want to talk one more?
Well, I just say a couple things about. Let me say. Yes. I wanted. Oh, yeah, they want to see on. Oh, they want to see them. Why do you want to see me? I wanted to tell this story because it epitomized Nels Thompson as a principal. A certain individual who was in this room, they had requirements eventually for graduation. And it always had something technical to do.
Oh, this is about me.
No, this not close. Anyway, the individual, but it epitomized Nels Thompson as principal. The principal called in this individual and said, I'm sorry, but you're 1 short credit of graduation. Well, Bobby McDonald looked at Nels and said, Nels, is there anything we can do? And this is the honest truth. He said, if you figure out a way for me to get that credit, I'll bring you a half bottle of scotch from now on until you are still, I can still find you. That's nice in all respect for Mr. Thompson because he understood the student. Bobby, his integrity is absolutely can't be impaired because he did that for many years. Rob and I were just talking about that the other day, and I was, pretty cool deal, but, you know, when I guess one guy, Jack Redding was a guy that came to us at a difficult time in our lives, actually. We lost a close friend in school, and Jack would come in and become a friend and a mentor and a teacher and an educator and everything else in the world to us, as well as all the rest of the teachers too. But Jack had me as his assistant in class one day, and well, I was probably the best assistant you ever had, wasn't I? I'm sure. And Jack had a habit of grabbing a hold of my hair when I was being an asshole. And I got the shot put in my hand one day, and I must have said something, huh, Jack? I must have done something wrong. I can't imagine what, but I did something wrong. And when Jack reached over to get my hair, I turned. I'll tell you what, running into a 12-pound shotgun put with your face is a dead end. Right there. Dead end. And I remember looking around, and I looked at the ball, and Jack is over here, bent over, laughing his guts out, and I'm going, holy crap, that's gonna be a shiner. And he goes, oh no, that's not split wide open. So I ended up going to the hospital, getting stitched up. I come back the next day, and Jack is waiting for me with the javelin. And tells me, hey, Jack, why don't you see what you can do with this today? Thanks, Jack. But Mike Town made sure I wasn't really thrilled with the javelin anymore. And so anyways, I think I want to let people know, if anybody wants to come up here and say something, feel free to do it. Yeah, there'll be time, anytime through this thing. Come on now. Right. You gotta come here, Derek. Oh, okay. This was a thing that we got to talk about when I first learned that Nels had passed. And there was a thing called the full Thompson, and I don't know what it was, but it was where Nels would take and put your arms up there, and then he'd reach around and he'd grab your arms, and he had complete control of it. And Terry Hershey, who thought that Fuzz was the one who came up with the full Thompson. But anyways, that was what Derek is talking about, where Nels would control you with this. Yeah. Maybe at a high pace too, huh? So anyways, that was pretty interesting, because I didn't remember that. I must have been too fast for Nels if that changed something. But anyway, yeah. Thanks, Derek, for that one, because we talked about that. I think John and Brian both about that, and they got a kick out of it. So like I said, we had a bunch of stuff here. One thing we are gonna do is we are gonna read the obituary. Okay, everything else I think we're gonna just let go. People can talk when they want. Yeah.
Just before that, I'm not Culver, I'm his fabulous. My dad had a sporting goods store in town and good. So in the Oscar Sporting Goods, so back then you Culverites, that's where you got your shoes and your jock straps and all of this. But I haven't heard Maddie Wells' name for a long time. This is what I want to share with you. Because of her, she had 2 darling daughters, but also one that couldn't hear and was also blind. And because of her, the love and the understanding of people that is still there, and thrilled to hear Maddie Wells' name today. And what
one thing I want to say too, yeah, thanks, Mike. I want to make sure for the family, there's a collage of pictures over here on the table. Okay, that is for the family when they do their family gathering in remembrance of Nels. I'd like for everybody to sign up, maybe put a comment on it, and then there's a guest book also. It's really important that we get that signed so that I want the family to see the legacy that Nels left behind here. One of the things that I was talking with Brian the other night, and he talked about was how it's a snapshot in time of Nels' life. There were so many other things that were bigger than that when he got here and into Philomath. But I do want to say something that Nels touched on Brian. And Nels had told Brian this, that he never knew all the kids anywhere except for Fulham. So when he went somewhere else, into a bigger school as an administrator, he didn't have relationships with the kids like he did here. And so that was pretty special to the family. So anyways, I'm gonna be done talking. I'm gonna be done with this thing. If anybody wants to come up and say something else, that'd be great. And oh yeah, Jack, can you do the obituary now? Okay, so Jack's gonna do the obituary, and then we're gonna party. Okay, we're gonna also do Fred Blackman's later on, so.
All right. Hey, step up here, otherwise you can only see your belly. I can see you. All right. Please, I'm pretty wide. Nels was probably having a big laugh as soon as he saw me come up here and read, because Nels was a reader and I was not. And I'm sure he's thinking, it did take reading 3 days to read See Dick Run. So I'm not really good at reading or spelling or anything like that, so you'll have to bear with me. David Nels Thompson, December 4th, 1942, September 18th, 2023. Nels was born in Denver, Colorado to Helen and Joe Thompson. His father's preference was to give him the family name Nels. His mother wanted to call him David, so they compromised and used David as his legal name. However, he continued to use Nels throughout his lifetime, and the tradition continued to honor the family, and now is the middle name of a son, 2 grandsons, a great-grandson, and a nephew. Joe and Helen moved the family, including his sister Joan, Lola, and Janice, to Mapleton, Oregon in 1946, where Nels spent much of his childhood fishing sweetfish. He graduated from Mapleton High School, where he met the love of his life, Janet Holbrook. They were married over 60 years and had 3 children: John, with wife Pam, Brian, wife Mary, and Tanya. 7 grandchildren: Joe, wife Jennifer, Jake, wife Gira, William, wife Kate, Kylie, husband Kevin, Alexis, husband Riley, Benson, and Peyton, as well as 7 great-grandchildren: Judge, Hannah, Julian, Stella, Colby, Tegan, and Cameron. Nels attended Oregon State University and received a Bachelor of Arts degree in English. He interviewed with the CIA before deciding on career in education. He attended the University of Oregon, where he received a master's degree in education and eventually in administration. His father and sons as 3 generations who spent time working in the timber industry. Nels moved his family to Culver, Oregon in 1970, where he taught school for the first 7 years before accepting a position as a principal until 1987. During that time, he also coached football and track and field. In 1987, the Culver School Board of Directors very reluctantly accepted his resignation so that he could take a similar position in Philomath High School and be closer to his family. He retired in 2002 after 32 years. He said that at the time that he wasn't sure teaching was the goal when he chose the profession, but he found education made for quick days and was shocked at how much he enjoyed the kids. In 1995, he received the City of Corvallis Martin Luther King Jr. Award for his work with students developing an anti-harassment program, and he won statewide awards for building programs affectionately called by many of his students, athletes, and Culver, touched literally thousands of lives of teachers, coach, and principal.
During the ensuing years, many of the students stayed in touch, and there are numerous stories of how he not only impacted their education, but their entire lives. Many of the peers have reached out on his impact on their teaching careers with the practical advice, listening skills, and genuine concern for invested in his family and was never too busy to spend time reading and conversing with his grandchildren. He loves sports, coached his children in football and track, and spent later years going to his grandchildren's sporting events. He spent his retirement doing what he loved most: cooking, gardening, attending plays at the Shakespeare Festival, and most of all, reading. He was an avid reader and read thousands of books over his lifetime. A love and passion on to, a love he passed on was formed, excuse me, the photo was formed from his passport the summer prior to his senior year in high school when he toured Europe and Boy Scouts. The picture is intended to give his past students an idea of how he looked himself as a student. In lieu of flowers, the family has asked that anyone caring to remember Nels, please send a donation to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival in Ashland, Oregon. Thank you.
There are a couple other things we want to do, and then we're going to open up to the group. One is, I got an email from Ron Svensson, and I'll read that email to you. It says, Nels was a really great guy. I remember him inviting me to help him line the track for a track meet one time. He had a silver thermos with hot coffee that had been seasoned in the Scandinavian way, if you know what I mean. Most fun I ever had mine in the track. The kids at Culver were extremely fortunate to have him as a teacher and a coach. That's from Ron Smith. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to read you a letter that Fred Blackman wrote. And then we're going to open it up to other people that would like to talk about matters. Or just tell jokes like we do. Okay, this is a letter from Fred Blackman. He was, by the time I got into high school, was gone, but he's was pretty influential with a lot of the other kids around here. Also was a good friend of Nels's. I know that Alex will remember Fred well, basketball and football. So anyways, to the Nels Thompson family and friends, the Thompsons came to Culver 2 years after we did. Nels taught language arts and science. He would quote Shakespeare and I would quote Einstein, Louis Pasteur, and guys like that. So we had some lively discussions at times. Nels and Jan tried to get us to go to Ashland with them for Shakespeare's Festival. We went once. Sharon may have gone again, but I didn't think I needed to. Nels was my assistant basketball coach for those 5 years. We had great teams and great players to work with. He remembers going to state 1 year, and Nels was leading the pack. Got pulled over by the Oregon State Police. Do you remember that, Alex? Okay. So anyways, I don't remember if we got a ticket or if we talked our way out of it. Nels really helped in the development of our teams. I really appreciate that. On rare paydays, Nels, Jan, Sharon, and I would go with others. We'd go to the 86 Cat Corral in Redmond because Fred told me that they couldn't, back in those days, they couldn't drink here. That was kind of taboo to go party in here, so they went to Redmond. So anyways, in the 86 Corral, he went blue hunting with Clancy Nominate and the music teacher and did some scouting trips with another good time. But he wanted to elaborate on his other good times, so that must have really been fun. When Nels came to Culver, we were called teachers, and we weren't. Now I would refer to Nels and many other great educators that I've known as educators of the youth of America. In his many years in education, I think he had one basic tenet: let's do what's best for the kids. And I can say on behalf of, I think all of us here, that is a true story, because our teachers did what was best for us. It sure did for me. I think Nels had 3 great loves in his life. Number 1 was Jan and his children and family. Number 2 was churches. And number 3 was the many students he worked with and for, be it as a teacher, coach, or administrator.
And I'd like for everybody to raise your glasses right now if you got one. The last thing he writes is well done, Nels. Well done, be at peace. Anybody else want the mic? I'm done.
She's I got one little feeling about Nels and myself. My first year teaching, I taught a student with a cheat sheet at the midterm. So I marching down to Nels' office. When I said, hey, got a guy here, it's now it's midterm. And he's got a cheat sheet, and I showed it to him and everything, and Nels looks at the kid and goes, hey, you know better than that, don't you? He goes, yeah. He said, you ever gonna do it again? No. I said, okay, you go back to class and do what you're supposed to. No, we're not talking about it. And then Nels told me he shut the door. He goes, Jack, he says, I'll tell you something about these kids. That kid's cheating, but at least we know he's going to get by because he's going to fight. He's going to cheat and get by sometimes. We got to worry about those kids that don't even cheat to get by. And that was really important.
Nels and I had a big relationship in that my freshman year when I came into school or whatever. So as a freshman, when everybody was assigned student counselor or whatever, I got Nels, and Nels was my student advisor 4 years. And it was funny because, you know, everybody else would go homeroom and screw around or whatever. And, you know, I got to spend time with Coach Thompson in his office or whatever. And you know, he imparted a lot of things for me and told me about a lot of classes that I really kind of needed and had to take on behalf of him to humor him, he would say. And I don't know what he found funny about me taking classes I didn't want to take, but you know, he said I've probably never used them in my lifetime, but to be important in getting to college and stuff like that. One of the neat things, you know, Coach is always straight and true. You know, he played it straight, and if you were wrong, he was gonna, you know, punish you for it or whatever. But he also understood where you're at and stuff. And you know, one of the funny times is when we all took off and we were down at the cove. Come springtime or whatever, I was a junior at the time, and I had a couple of my buddies with me, Chris Idemiller and John Lato, and we got caught and we got brought back up to school or whatever. And Nell said to me, you know, Sean, I can give a shit if you're here or not. You can show up, you can come and go. But those guys, they got to be here to graduate, you know. So don't take them with you. And I took that as carte blanche my senior year to go up and do whatever I wanted, whatever I wanted. But yeah, he was really influential, and sorry to see that.
Raise the glass to Nels Thompson. And cheers to you, Nels. Thank you very much.